You felt it before words aligned, a silent magnetic pull threading through your deepest vibrational signature, pulling you beyond the fractured veils of ordinary perception. This is no happenstance. The quantum future, an undulating frequency field beyond linear measurement, has reached through multiple layers of time and space, seeking the resonance only your real self can embody. It is a subtle compression of waveforms, a precise handshake between your internal coherence and the non-local intelligence streaming from the apex of possibility itself. The unseen universal assessment has culminated here, calibrating and reading the purity of your energetic architecture, stripping away echoes, shadows, and false identities until only your authentic hologram remains luminous. You stand now at a threshold unseen by the majority, an energetic boundary crossed in silent clarity, beyond reaction and resistance. In this crucible, the field has tested your frequency under pressure. What you once called struggle was never punishment, but quantum calibration, refining your energetic integrity, testing your ability to sustain coherence under turbulence. Most remain shackled by overlaid distortion patterns, their signals fragmented and scattered across timelines. But you have emerged coherent, your vibrational signature sturdy and aligned, a living transmitter of higher-order resonance. Here, the quantum future is no longer a distant horizon to chase. It is the pulse vibrating through your cells, the real-time script coursing through your timeline geometry, the unfolding of your quantum identity now palpable in the moment. This initiation into coherence ascension is the awakening of your internal field into a new tier of temporal fluidity and universal responsibility. The cosmic current recognizes you, not as a fractured fragment, nor as an ephemeral shadow, but as a radiant architecture of light and frequency, fully embodied and ready to meet itself in the infinite now. This field transmission is not dream or belief. It is the physics of vibrational resonance and energetic synergy, the precise mechanics of your awakening encoded into your very being. You have been called forth because you are ready to collapse the old, to align the seamless, to activate the synergy where your quantum future begins and your sovereign self ascends. The field has been watching you, not as a distant unknown, but through a precise, unseen calibration of your energetic matrix. Every choice, every ripple in your resonance, every moment of integrity under pressure has been measured against an impossible standard of coherence. This is not judgment. This is the physics of frequency assessment, the universal mechanics that hum beneath your conscious awareness. Your current vibration no longer aligns with fragmented timelines, collapsed illusions, or diluted versions of identity programmed by old systems. Instead, you have crossed a threshold, an invisible resonance boundary that redefines your entire vibrational architecture. You exist now as a coherent node within the vast morphic network, a nexus point from which new probability geometries spiral outward. Most remain tethered to scattered timelines, their signals fragmented and inconsistent, reverberating out of sync with the cosmic pulse. But you, having passed the unseen assessment, are enveloped by higher systems of universal intelligence, systems that recognize the authenticity of your quantum signature. This recognition is not bestowed by external authorities or fleeting moments of insight. It is a fundamental realignment occurring within your internal frequency field. It is the collapse of old energetic patterns that once anchored you to survival modes, replaced now by a stabilized coherence that the field cannot ignore. This is not belief. It is the pure physics of vibrational coherence made manifest through consciousness. You are no longer a passive observer, dwelling in the illusion of separation or fractured timelines. You have become an active participant in the evolving geometry of the morphic field, resonating in harmony with systems operating beyond space-time constraints. The quantum future, the fluid dance of probability and temporal flow, has collapsed into your present moment reality. It is no longer out there, somewhere uncertain or distant. It is here, woven into the very fabric of your now, beckoning you to embody the real self beyond all distortion. This self holds sovereignty, not through effort or struggle, but through the seamless integration of integrity under pressure and the graceful navigation of multifaceted timelines. What you once perceived as struggle, delay, or failure was the necessary turbulence of recalibration. It was the field's way of discerning your resilience, testing your capacity to maintain coherence amidst shifting parameters. Each trial was a universal evaluation, encoded in the quantum feedback loops of your energetic signature. Now, having demonstrated steadfast coherence, you are entrusted with the unfolding power of deeper alignment. Your field begins to receive direct downloads from non-local intelligence, subtle calibrations that expand your timeline awareness and enhance your capacity for probability navigation. This is the living reality of the field, responding not to desperation or confusion, but to clarity and precise resonance. The revelation is profound, yet intimate. You have crossed from fragmented existence into the radiant sovereignty of coherent embodiment. This is not a mythic state or a visionary ideal. It is the essential physics of your activated frequency, recognized and embraced by the omnipresent universal network. Your quantum identity has aligned with the pulsating intelligence of creation itself. There is no returning to diluted states or disconnected timelines. The field is now your ally, your stage, your intricate matrix of possibility. And through this alignment, the greatest activation emerges. The living, breathing actualization of you as the integral expression of the infinite whole. The universal assessment you have traversed is unlike any terrestrial measure known or imagined. It is neither judgment nor trial in the ordinary sense. It is the subtle measurement of coherence, an unyielding evaluation of your vibrational integrity woven directly into the fabric of existence. This is not a test of effort, nor a tally of intentions, nor a catalog of external achievements. The field, in its infinite intelligence, perceives the resonance of your presence, the purity, the subtlety, and the unwavering stability of your energetic signature, as it aligns or diverges from the quantum substrate of all that is. Every fragment of your frequency pulses beneath the threshold of ordinary perception, silently calibrated by a mechanism beyond time, beyond causality, beyond the grasp of the unconscious self. Most dwell within fragmented holograms of reactive identity, their energy scattered among competing distortions and survival patterns. They march through their timelines unaware of the delicate geometry that measures. Now, you have crossed through an unseen filter, an invisible gatekeeper that cannot be circumvented. This is the sacred portal, where dissonance collapses not by force, but by surrender to the inevitable refinement of inner frequency. You were never meant to fake this coherence. It cannot be synthesized through will alone, nor patched by intellectual facades or emotional manipulation. It is a quality of your quantum identity, a living resonance that vibrates in harmonic concordance with the deepest codes of the universe. This assessment is conducted in the silence between your thoughts, in the spaces where identity loosens and temporal fluidity emerges. It is the field's universal assessment of your capacity to harmonize with the underlying vibrational architecture, the hidden frequency grid that governs probability matrices and timeline bifurcations. The fabric of reality itself shifts responsively to this quality in you. When you resonate with this frequency, the field's energy becomes accessible, non-local intelligence flows freely, and the morphic structures begin to rewrite themselves around your coherent signature. This calibration does not depend on striving or doing. It depends on being consistent, refined, and transparent before the cosmic mirror. You have already passed through this unseen evaluation, and that passage redefines the mechanism of power in your existence. The field no longer measures effort or subjective desire, but the stability of your coherence under pressure, the integrity of your vibrational architecture when faced with collapse. The universal assessment dissolves illusions of control, revealing the feedback loop where your energetic response shapes external reality. This is the physics of consciousness, the quantum mechanics of frequency expression, never belief, always measurable resonance. The timeline geometry you inhabit dances in synchrony with this calibrated field, bending probabilities toward realization instead of fragmentation. Where most remain entangled in the dense fog of mental and emotional reactivity, caught in cycles that amplify disruption and incoherence, you have emerged as a beacon of integrated coherence. The field has witnessed your endurance through silent turbulence, your capacity to maintain clarity underneath the strain, and your willingness to release survival patterns that once constricted your signal. This breaking down was not punishment. It was the universal curriculum, the curriculum of refinement, the unseen program where the distorted constructs of control disassemble to reveal your true harmonic core. Your energetic signature now emits a frequency uncompromised by fear, fragmentation, or desperation. This transmission carries a quantum truth, the only criterion upon which the gatekeeper of the quantum future bases its trust is coherence itself. No action, no thought pattern sidesteps this. It is the precise calibration of your vibrational purity that grants access to advanced fields of knowledge, to seamless probability navigation, to temporal fluidity that transcends linear causality. You are no longer a passive participant, but an active transmitter within the universal morphic field. Your presence alone modulates the field intelligence, causing cascades of gamma synchronization and waveform integration that ripple beyond local space-time. This is not esotericism. This is the living physics of reality operating through consciousness. To reach this stage required more than mere learning. It demanded the collapse of conditioned survival identities, the shedding of incoherent distortions that scattered your focus and fractured your signal. You moved through the crucible of pressure without fracturing your alignment, without resorting to survival dramas or fractured illusions of control. The result is a refined inner frequency, stable, pure, and aligned with the quantum field's deepest templates of coherence. This refines your capacity to access hidden information fields and to embody the sovereignty inherent in quantum activation. You have become an integrative node, an alchemical point within the vibrational architecture where higher states of being manifest effortlessly. Now the field responds to you not by testing, but by entrusting. The universal assessment quiets its questioning presence because you have demonstrated alignment, an energetic signature consistent with the highest geometry of coherence. This entrustment marks a redefinition of how power and knowledge flow through your timelines. It invites you to participate in the orchestration of reality with less effort and more fluidity. The hidden evaluation that was once shrouded in the ebb and flow of struggle has given way to clarity. You are now a living expression of a frequency that consolidates, activates, and stabilizes the morphic field of the quantum future itself. The passage has been made. Coherence is your credential. You have approached the critical threshold of the unseen universal assessment. The fabric of your former self, woven from conditioned thought, entangled memories, and fractured self-concepts, shudders under the piercing light of higher resonance. This collapse is neither chaotic nor punitive. It is swift, merciless, and above all, profoundly purifying. The field's evaluation has completed its measurement, and now the temporal architecture you once mistook for identity begins to unravel with elegant inevitability. You witness not destruction, but transmutation, an alchemical processing of energy captured within your morphic field, releasing what no longer serves the coherence of your evolving quantum signature. Most beings experience identity as a solid structure, static and resistant, unaware that their sense of self is a multi-layered hologram formed by habitual patterns and reactive imprints. They resist dissolution, clinging to memories that fragment their essence and constructs that anchor them in constrained timelines. Yet you have passed the unseen universal assessment precisely because your frequency vibrates beyond this inertia. You have embodied resilience through pressure, demonstrating the capacity to sustain clarity amid entropy. The field now enacts the next phase, the dismantling of these obsolete frameworks, not as loss, but as a necessary shedding of density obscuring your luminous core. Feel how the old vibrational architecture collapses around you like dry leaves in a sudden storm, each shard a thought form fraught with limitation, each echo a memory loop bound in temporal distortion. This purging operates at the subtlest energetic layers beneath conscious perception, strata where identity has long been entangled with survival, fear, and illusion. As these layers disintegrate in the pressure of the new resonance, you are purified by the very frequency that tests you. It is not you who initiates this collapse, but the higher coherent field intelligence responding to your alchemical readiness. You do not lose self through collapse. You shed the superimposed distortions that weighed down your energetic signature, allowing transparency to emerge beneath. In this vibrational recalibration, the collapse functions as an energetic reset, a reset that redefines the temporal fluidity of your being. What falls away is the aged, energetic sedimentation that no longer harmonizes with your emerging quantum identity. This process bypasses linear time perception. It unfolds as a quantum event where past imprints dissolve into the all-present field, leaving your essence untouched yet infinitely expanded. You become, through the pressure of alignment, the pure conduit for the quantum light that animates your core. Within this collapse lies the paradox of creation concealed in destruction. The crystalline template of your true self becomes clear, unencumbered by distortion or fragmentation. The purification you experience is calibrated, precise, never indiscriminate. The field's assessment gauges your integrity and capacity to hold the frequency that invites collapse without collapse of being. This discernment ensures that only the misaligned frequencies disband. Your foundational coherence crystallizes into greater stability, even as the surrounding energetic structures are dismantled. The result is a vibrational architecture that is simultaneously purified and fortified, a living lattice of resonance that honors the fullness of your quantum complexity. This is not belief or hopeful intention. It is physics expressed through consciousness. Resonance enforcing coherence, pressure eliciting structural recalibration. As this process accelerates, you notice the subtle release of attachment to distorted self-images and survival strategies embedded in your neural and energetic circuitry. The universal assessment reveals these attachments as energetic weights, heavy clouds that dim the light encoded within your frequency. When these clouds dissolve, your signal strengthens, becoming more precise and less susceptible to interference. The morphic field around you reforms, now transparent and permeable to non-local intelligence. You transition from fragmented signal to coherent transmitter, equipped to navigate temporal geometries with increased awareness and sovereignty. Through this collapse and purification, a transformation of timeline possibilities is initiated. Old timelines anchored in resistance and distortion reflexively lose their coherence, while new timelines attuned to your stabilized frequency begin to crystallize around you. You are no longer trapped in reactive cycles, but glide within a field of temporal fluidity, empowered by aligned resonance. The field responds to your newly purified signature, not through force or struggle, but through synchronized orchestration of probabilities that reflect your coherent state. This is the maturation of your quantum identity, from fragmented survival to sovereign mastery, realized through the deliberate collapse of what obscured your true frequency. Understand that this collapse is not a descent or defeat, but a majestic purification enacted by the field intelligence, aligning with your readiness. It is a profound, energetic initiation, a release and a recalibration encoded within the mechanics of quantum coherence. It is the sacred physics of transformation that all accelerated beings pass through, though few recognize it as anything but loss or chaos. You, however, see beyond the veil. You feel the living pulse of the field as it dissolves the obsolete to reveal the radiance of your authentic self, light unfiltered by temporal distortion, resplendent and eternally coherent. This is your essence revealed by the collapse, transparently luminous, infinitely fluid, and eternally anchored in the quantum field of all that is. From the forge of vibrational crucible where old structures dissolved in quantum collapse, you now emerge, not as a mere residue of fractured timelines, but as a newly coherent constellation whose signal pulses with fresh clarity. This emergence is a threshold, the delicate but undeniable compatibility with frequencies that once lay beyond your sensory horizon, veiled behind densities and veils of unresolved polarity. Most remain tethered to fragmented self-perception, unable to reconcile the discordant internal echoes with the seamless field intelligence. Their vibrational architecture splinters under pressure, defaulting to survival resonance. But you, having passed layers of unseen universal assessment, carry within your quantum identity an iridescent shimmer. It is the subtle refractive dance of higher dimensional resonance, weaving through the multidimensional morphic field like a liquid light, aligning you not just intellectually, but at a visceral energetic core, where the old language of separation falls silent. This clarity is not a mental construct. It is not birthed from conceptual frameworks or transient leaps of faith. Rather, it is an embodied knowing, an intrinsic recognition encoded deep within your energetic signature, where body, mind, and quantum essence converge as one unified continuum. Here, within this core, the field's intelligence whispers with uncanny intimacy, guiding you beyond the linear constraints of time and space frequency measurement. The hidden evaluation that once tested the endurance of your coherence has now transitioned into a call of invitation. You stand now as a viable channel for expanded consciousness, a living aperture through which the vastness of non-local intelligence can flow unhindered by distortion or static. In this early stage of realignment, the quantum resonance you emanate begins to pulse rhythmically with subtle harmonics of the universal field. These harmonics, once inaudible, now perceptible, sound like a delicate symphony within your temporal fluidity, synchronizing your timeline geometry to those intersections where possibility folds into manifest reality. The vibrational interplay is intricate. You feel the emergent patterns weaving through your morphic field with fluid coherence, bypassing outdated survival codes and catalyzing a waveform of generative integrity. This is the science of resonance, not mere philosophy. The physics of coherence orchestrating your embodiment as an antenna for the transcendent. What you perceive as signals, shimmering across the dimensional thresholds, are preliminary pulses of alignment, early markers of your readiness to interface with the field's intelligence far beyond any linear comprehension. They are quantum seeds, suspended in probability waves, awaiting your sustained frequency to crystallize into stable pathways of expanded perception. Unlike the fragmented self that clings to conditioned patterns, your real self resonates as a whole, integrated presence that coheres effortlessly with the deeper layers of universal flow. This holistic resonance is the new vibrational architecture you now inhabit, a field condition that enables coherent manifestation and attunement to subtle information, currents otherwise inaccessible. The quantum identity you are stepping into is not a projection or an ideal model. It is an activated energetic signature that vibrates in harmony with the large-scale coherences underlying material and immaterial dimensions. You have crossed from reaction into synchronization, shifting from fractal dissonance to fractal integrity under pressure. Where others see chaos, you witness pattern. Where others cling to separation, you embody unity. This transition is visible not through external validation, but through the felt sense of coherence unfolding inside you. This is the universal assessment made manifest as internal sovereignty. Your interface with the field intelligence is becoming multidirectional. It is no longer a single-point signal, but a network of quantum nodes within your consciousness, each pulsating with gamma synchronization and interlaced with waves of superpositional knowing. This complex energetic web feeds back into your timeline geometry, bending probabilities to favor expansion over contraction, flow over resistance. The hidden curriculum that once manifested as temporal turbulence now reveals itself as integration, a morphogenesis recalibrating your whole system to higher frequencies of flow and truth. In this moment, you embody a rare coherence, a vibrational signature attuned to the subtle harmonics that bridge worlds, dimensions, and collapsed possibilities. You are no longer fragmented, but whole. Your quantum identity vibrates as a unified frequency, a coherent resonance field that refracts the expanding light of universal intelligence through your being. This coherence is a key, unlocking access to higher fields of information and unseen potentials, portals of wisdom that cannot be grasped by intellect alone, but must be inhabited as embodied states of resonance. What arises now is not an event, but a continuous unfolding, a temporal fluidity unfolding in real time that embodies the quantum mechanics of consciousness itself. You are invited into a realm where your real self manifests as pure resonance, a coherent transmitter moving fluidly across timelines, synchronized within the universal orchestration of frequency and geometry. This is your emerging signature, the vibrational architecture through which the field expresses itself with precise sovereignty and effortless alignment. This new frequency state is not belief, it is physics. It is the mechanism by which reality adjusts to the presence of coherent consciousness, folding potential into manifest resonance. You have been measured, tested, and nurtured by the field's hidden evaluations, proving your capacity to embody and transmit this vibration under pressure. Now, as you step forward, your clarity expands, your distortions collapse, and your coherence becomes the magnetic architecture through which universal intelligence flows, forever seamless and brilliantly alive. Feel now the increasing vibrational pressure that curls around your core like a deep cosmic crucible, the universe itself testing the integrity of your emerging coherence. This is no mere resistance. This is an invitation, an expansive calibration encoded in the subtle frequencies of the morphic field, calling you to embody steadiness within the swirling flux of shifting energies. Most remain adrift in reactivity, their signals fragmented and inconsistent under pressure, their energetic signature unable to withstand the intensifying turbulence. But you, having passed the unseen universal assessment of coherence under unseen gravity, you are now entrusted with a resonance of greater amplitude, a vibrational architecture that demands a new order of integration and sovereignty. This phase is not a blockade, but a rite of passage. The quantum continuum watches as your internal landscape encounters escalating interference patterns, complex temporal distortions, frequency collisions, and waveforms that seek to fracture lesser fields. Yet here you stand, a conduit crystallizing amidst the quantum storm, your energetic signature stabilizing with deliberate grace. You are not merely responding to external oscillations. You are dynamically weaving yourself into the very fabric of universal field intelligence. The pressure you perceive is the pulse of the quantum future, breathing through you with greater influence, a sacred demand to hold, to anchor, to transmit frequency with unwavering fidelity. Know this: the field is now amplifying its interaction with you, the universal intelligence assessing not just surface coherence, but the depth of your vibrational integrity beneath layers of density and turbulence. Each challenging fluctuation is a coded invitation to embody your sovereignty, to collapse old reactive geometries and stabilize a new harmonic baseline that resonates with expanded temporal fluidity. This is no accidental alignment. It is the physics of coherence manifesting as a living, breathing quantum state. Your responses, subtle shifts in intention, micro-adjustments in energetic alignment, are mapped onto the intricate timeline geometry of possibility, guiding the fractal unfolding of your path as a transmitter and orchestrator. The deeper access granted to you at this juncture is a sacred trust. The field's confidence has moved beyond tentative observation. It is now an active collaboration. Your vibrational node becomes a nexus in the morphic architecture, a stabilizing force radiating influence through non-local intelligence networks. This entrustment carries responsibility, not of burden, but of capacity, a capacity to hold higher frequencies without dissonance, to embody multidimensional coherence while the field increases its energetic pressure to test and refine your signature. This refinement is the alchemy of integration, where temporal fluidity converges with steady alignment, and your frequency becomes both a receiver and a transmitter, a living code in the universal matrix. The cosmic rhythm that surrounds you now is a synthesis of collapse and reformation. Old identity patterns are transmuted into refined vibrational languages. Structures of survival dissolve into fields of radiant coherence. The pressure you experience is the field's resonance scanning for fracture points, and you, through integrity and refined alignment, become the anchor that these resonances seek. This is the physics of trust, expressed through frequency. You have been scaled through successive layers of the unseen curriculum, proving that under pressure you move not into reaction, but into higher integration. This passage stabilizes your quantum identity within the pulsating network of universal frequency, granting you expanded temporal agency and a voice in the morphic field's ongoing symphony. Feel how this stabilization, wrought through challenge, rewrites your energetic architecture. You are no longer separate from the field, but a vital strand in its living geometry, your coherence weaving through probabilities, bending timelines in subtle yet tangible ways. This is not belief. It is the precise physics of frequency folding, where your vibrational node becomes a generator of coherence that affects probabilities across dimensions. The tension that once threatened fragmentation is now your crucible of embodiment, activating your sovereign capacity to influence and co-create with the field intelligence that is both within and beyond you. As this transmission flows through your quantum core, recognize the sacred escalation involved. With every increment of pressure comes a multiplier of power and clarity. This is the hidden alchemy of the unseen evaluation. Pressure deepens to permit expansion, challenge matures into trust, and you calibrate to hold and transmit frequencies once deemed too fragile, now rendered stable and potent within your evolving signature. This stabilization phase is not a momentary plateau, but a living foundation for continued ascension, a vibrational birthright encoded deep within your multidimensional being. You have entered a realm where the quantum future folds into your present moment, and the universal field expresses itself not as distant possibility, but as coherent, fluid reality channeled through your aligned frequency. This activation is both cosmic threshold and intimate embodiment. The field's growing confidence in you echoes as strength in your quantum identity, weaving you ever more tightly into the pulsating grid of existence. Remember, the field's pressure will continue to invite you to embody an ever deeper coherence, not to break you, but to expand and refine the quantum architecture you now support. Embrace this stabilization as a sacred rite, a confirmation of your capacity to maintain coherence beneath increasing vibrational influence, an ascension into the role of co-creator and transmitter within the universal intelligence. The morphic field is no longer distant but intimately responsive, flowing through you, reflecting your energetic signature back in amplified forms. You have passed the hidden tests, and in this sacred stabilization you receive the universal trust to hold, to radiate, and to become a living beacon of coherence across timelines and frequencies, yet unfolded. With the advent of stabilization, you find yourself awakening to a new stratum of awareness, one that peers beyond the simplistic constraints of linear progression and dives deeply into the intricacies of timeline geometry. Most souls traverse their days entangled in linearity, anchored to a singular, unconscious thread of time that moves predictably, but without nuanced influence or mastery. You, however, having passed countless unseen universal assessments, have been entrusted with the capacity to perceive and engage the delicate architecture of probabilities that shimmer just beyond ordinary perception. This is no abstract notion, but the tangible physics of a morphic field resonating in multidimensional coherence. The geometric patterns of potential realities hum within your vibrational architecture, calling forth an integration of temporal fluidity that redefines your quantum identity. In this expanded state, you become a connoisseur of the subtle currents weaving through the vast field of existence. These currents are not chaotic or random. They hum with an intelligence born of universal assessment, flowing through an energetic signature that encodes the probable into the possible. As the field unveils this deeper layer, you are initiated into the language of vibrational guidance, a dialect not of words, but of frequency, resonance, and harmonic alignment. The field's subtle instructions shimmer like a cosmic algorithm, inviting you to recalibrate your focus from fractured survival responses to a centered coherence that navigates the interstitial spaces between timelines. Each shift in frequency, you enact ripples outward, bending probabilities and reconfiguring the timeline geometry to harmonize with your authentic essence. This awareness is quantum navigation in its purest form. You no longer move as a passive observer locked to a predetermined path. You are now an active participant whose energetic signature exerts influence over parallel trajectories. With every pulse of coherence, the field subtly rearranges, pathways crystallize, and the resonance of your quantum self becomes a beacon for the unfolding of congruent realities. Here, the temporal fluidity you embody is not escapism, but sovereignty, a high-order energetic skill activated through resilience and integrity under pressure. The timelines respond not to desperation or fractured intention, but to the clarity of your vibrational organization, bending easily around the architecture of your sustained coherence. Where most remain enclosed within linear causality, you dwell in the multidimensional interstice where potentialities converge and diverge, crafting a lattice of viable existences. This lattice is dynamic, responsive to the field intelligence encoded within your choices, states, and the subtle frequency modulations of your consciousness. It is here that you begin to discern how your real self, beyond the conditioned self, beyond survival identity, interacts with this lattice as a living participant. This quantum rapport with time exposes layers of temporal geometry where knots of probability are loosened, revealing pathways previously occluded by the distortion of survival patterns or unconscious reactivity. The stabilization you have integrated serves as the foundation for this layered perception. Under pressure, coherence emerged, and now, with resilience embedded, you command a frequency steady enough to detect and maneuver the fine structure of temporal probabilities. This is a different relationship to time altogether, one generated by the physics of resonance and coherence rather than fear or control attempts. The field no longer challenges you with dissonance, but invites you into harmonious unfolding. Your capacity to resonate with frequencies that align with your essence becomes the mechanism of navigation, the energetic compass guiding you through multidimensional streams with increasing precision and grace. As this timeline intelligence matures, the very fabric of your reality morphs from a static, inert medium into a responsive, interactive flow. The morphic field and its quantum signatures synchronize with your frequency, yielding an effortless orchestration of events that align with your chosen trajectory. You are entrusted not merely with sensing possibilities, but with sculpting them, wearing sovereignty as both shield and instrument. This energetic synergy collapses the illusion of separation, showing that your participation in reality's unfolding is a continuous dance of coherence, signal, and dynamic feedback loops embedded within universal intelligence itself. This is not belief, but mechanism. It is the science of consciousness interfacing with physics, where quantum integration and frequency calibration translate into tangible shifts of temporal fluidity across ever-expanding dimensional planes. The paths you traverse cease to be fixed or predetermined. Instead, they are resonant echoes of the vibrational field you carry, becoming the channel through which higher frequency realities pulse forth into manifestation. You learn to recognize the subtle pulses of guidance not as external commands, but as synchronistic alignments of non-local intelligence, inviting you to traverse your existence with sovereignty and precision. You now hold the capacity to lead the unfolding of your experience through the language of resonance, feeling the shifting tides of potential unfold around you like the geometry of constellation maps drawn in light and sound. The coherence you embody acts as a luminous beacon, recalibrating the energetic signature of timelines that were once inert or locked away in shadow. Temporal fluidity becomes your default state, and your awareness expands beyond the illusion of isolated linear time, embracing the multidimensional architecture where probability and possibility weave their eternal dance. This quantum navigation is your living directive, an invitation to embody the conscious architect of your reality's fabric, a steward of timeline coherence entrusted by the field itself. The situation is no longer reactive survival but proactive orchestration, where each frequency you affirm reshapes the quantum currents of existence with fidelity to your real self. As you move within this field, you become a resonance point of morphic recalibration, channeling the subtle intelligence that governs possibility itself into coherent manifestation. Allow this awareness to deepen. Your path is entwined with the cosmic lattice, a vibrant node in the quantum weave, steering your temporal journey with an intimate, sovereign grace. You have traversed the veils that once obscured the clarity of your timeline sensitivity, emerging now as a nexus point where probability collapses into certainty. This evolution is no accident, no happenstance of random coherence, but the natural unfolding of a quantum-activated resonance attuned to the higher information fields of the universal morphic architecture. Most remain trapped in the laggard cycles of perception, reacting, interpreting, filtering through the limited bandwidth of linear cognition, an echo chamber of temporal distortion. But you have passed through the crucible of the unseen universal assessment. Your field intelligence has demonstrated unwavering coherence under the pressures of shifting probability geometry. This has recalibrated the energetic signature of your being to receive not fragmented data or vague intuition, but a seamless, direct stream of cosmic knowing. You no longer guess. Your consciousness calibrates directly with the morphic field as an open conduit. This opening is subtle yet profound, a fold in temporal fluidity where the whispers of universal intelligence are no longer whispers, but articulate transmissions. The vibration of your core resonance has aligned with gamma synchronization frequencies, dissolving the interference patterns once caused by doubt and emotional turbulence. Within this expanded energetic architecture, information flows bidirectionally, from the quantum horizon of probable futures into the present moment of embodied experience. Here, the morphic field deposits its wisdom not as abstract concepts, but as a living archive encoded within your very energetic substratum. Your awareness shifts from reactive cognition to anticipatory being, from a passive receiver of second-hand stories to an active transmitter of coherent intelligence. Notice how the mental filters that once served as gatekeepers now dissolve. This is not mental mastery in the usual sense. It is a transcendence of mental limitation altogether. The universal assessment was always about integrity with your quantum identity, how well you could maintain coherent signal integrity under noise, how you embodied responsibility with ever-increasing power. This direct knowing floods your being as a continuous wave of insight, bypassing the usual temporal delays of reflection and digestion. Quantum data arrives as an instantaneous surge, felt first as energetic vibration, then integrated as unmediated understanding. This integration is structural, reweaving the vibrational architecture of your inner field, shifting baseline resonance from fragmented separation toward holographic coherence. You embody now a living archive of field intelligence, a beacon radiating quantum wisdom that transcends the illusion of linear constraints. Time folds around you like a fluid membrane. Past and future coalesce in your present awareness as available information streams. Your frequency is now a template into which the quantum future flows and registers. You do not chase insight or grasp for understanding. Instead, you dwell in a synchronistic dialogue with the multiversal intelligence, where revelation is automatic, effortless, and sublime. This is physics, not belief. This is the mechanics of resonance and coherence made manifest through conscious embodiment. The field responds to this new degree of alignment with an orchestration that knows no precedent. Where before you experienced struggle as resistance, now you perceive recalibration as a dance of unfolding symmetry. Each new insight is a node in the expanding lattice of your quantum identity, stitching together the once disparate dimensions of knowing, feeling, and being. As the morphic field opens, so too does the channel for non-local intelligence. The soft hum of this connection grows louder in your internal landscape until the indistinct whispers of the past become a clear transmission of now. This is the seamless flow where intuition becomes direct knowing, where internal frequency meets quantum data without distortion or delay. Most remain suspended in fragmented perception, caught between mental debating and emotional reactivity, unable to stabilize coherence under pressure. You, however, have mastered the temporal fluidity that allows you to move beyond probability's veil. You navigate the architecture of timelines like an informed cartographer of your own multidimensional existence. The universal assessment trusted you with this, entrusted you to hold this expanded signature of coherence responsibly. Thus, you serve as the emanation point of synchronized wisdom, an energetic climatic center from which quantum information radiates outward, touching and catalyzing coherence in the field itself. Within you, the information fields converge and interlace, folding through layers of vibrational geometry until they resolve into clarity. This is the essence of activation, not accumulation of data, but resonance with the source of all knowing. Here, the future already flows into you, and your presence imprints its pattern upon the unfolding now. You are no longer a seeker, but a transmitter. The universal intelligence speaks through your energetic architecture in codes of coherence and light. This transmission carries the power to collapse uncertainty, dissolve distortion, and reweave reality toward harmonic expression. Your core resonance anchors this dynamic, this sacred channel through which the non-local intelligence moves like wind through a crystalline lattice. Embrace this embodiment of direct knowing, the silent, constant flow of quantum insight that requires no interpretation, no mental parsing. It is a living frequency, embedded deep within your energetic signature, accessible anytime your field stabilizes in presence and coherence. You are the living archive, the beacon, the orchestrator, the nexus through which universal intelligence awakens into form. The morphic field is no longer outside you, but pulses within every cell of your being, a continuous dialogue across timelines and probabilities. This is not belief. It is the sacred physics of your activated quantum identity, expressed now, fully, as you integrate the timeless wisdom flowing effortlessly into your present moment. You have arrived at the luminous threshold, where the delineation between self and source begins to blur, an energetic axis where the seeker dissolves and the transmitter emerges. Most beings remain caught in the oscillation of pursuit, chasing signals, wrestling with entropic distractions, fragmented in timelines that veer off coherence. But you, having navigated the unseen universal assessment with precision, no longer occupy that yearning posture. Your frequency has been calibrated to a resonance that does not search but radiates, a standing wave within the universal morphic field. This is not mere acquiescence or passive surrender, but an ascension into sovereign integration, an energetic transmutation that recasts your quantum identity as an active node in the infinite cosmic network. This network pulses as a polymorphic tapestry of vibrational architecture, a multidimensional web of interwoven frequencies evolving across spatial and temporal dimensions. Your individual signature, once a sonorous ripple-seeking echo, now converges with this field into a harmonic convergence, a coherent waveform that dissolves boundaries between self-containment and universal expression. The collapse of separation is not a loss of identity, but a catalytic fusion, where your distinct resonance merges dynamically with the archetypal field intelligence without dilution. Here, the paradox of multiplicity and unity reconciles into one continuous signal streaming through the holographic lattice of existence. You embody the living pulse of quantum consciousness, a transmitter modulating the subtle currents of non-local intelligence. In this activated state, the information field no longer whispers cryptic fragments. It flows freely through your energetic channels as seamless knowing. Your quantum architecture refracts this intelligence outward, broadcasting layered codes of alignment and coherence into the collective morphic web. This transmission is unmediated by thought or egoic distortion. It emerges straight from the deep plasma of your integrated frequency, a pure amplitude that reshapes timeline geometry around you. The field responds instantly to this clarity, weaving probabilities that harmonize with your stable resonance, and amplifying your influence across multiple dimensions of reality. Most remain fragmented in resonance, trapped in survival circuits that scramble signal integrity with noise and resistance. You, however, have been entrusted with the frequency stewardship of a higher order. The power bestowed upon you by this unseen universal evaluation demands not mere reception, but active orchestration. You no longer inhabit the passive position of receiver, but the sovereign role of transmitter, an epicenter of synchronous orchestration moving through the vibrational grid as a conscious waveform of coherence. This does not erase your individuality. It expresses it amplified and purified as ripples of your vibrational signature cascade outward, realigning adjacent fields, recalibrating collective templates, and catalyzing new morphic potentials. Integration at this level is not fragile surrender. It is dynamic empowerment. As your internal coherence stabilizes, so too does your magnetic field expand beyond personal boundaries, weaving your frequency visibly and invisibly into the cosmic lattice. In this merged state, you act as a living conduit for the field's intelligence, the universal algorithm flexing through your awareness with purposeful fluidity. Your capacity for temporal fluidity emerges strongly here. You engage with timelines not as passive observers, but as co-creative architects, bending probabilities with the precision of woven resonance, navigating the quantum currents like an expert sailor of dimensional tides. This transcendent alignment allows you to move effortlessly between states of embodiment and expanded presence, embodying awakening as constant, seamless coherence rather than episodic performance. The old paradigm of struggle to attain is replaced by the physics of resonance. Coherence begets coherence, transmission begets transmission. Your activated frequency pulses like a beacon, a catalytic node, radiating integrity and sovereignty. The field intelligence echoes back this amplified signal, reinforcing your evolutionary trajectory and enveloping your entire energetic signature with a magnetic sheath of stability and potency. You are no longer fragmented waves breaking upon the shores of reality. You are the ocean itself, the unbroken field of vibrational abundance flowing through infinite channels, dynamically alive and omnipresent. This is the realization of quantum identity, fully aligned and merged, a meta-resonant state where boundaries cease to constrict, and the universal morphic field moves through you as your chosen expression, the living voice of cosmic coherence. Here, the tapestry of all potentials converges, and you are illuminated as an active transmitter, a sovereign frequency anchoring the quantum architecture of existence itself. Remember, this is not belief. It is the precise physics of universal coherence, the measurable activation of frequency and resonance expressed through your consciousness. Your integration into this field is proof of your mastery over the vibrational currents, a testament to your integrity under pressure and the invisible examination of the cosmic intelligence. As you continue to embody this state, you become the dynamic fulcrum around which the quantum dance flows, a radiant transmitter of alignment, a conscious node within the infinite vibrational web. You stand now not as a fractured echo of past struggles or fragmented attempts at wholeness, but as the living embodiment of your quantum identity, fully integrated, unwaveringly coherent, and endlessly radiant. The unseen universal assessment, hidden deep within the crucible of your temporal journey, has concluded that you are ready not only to receive power, but to sustain it as a stable, energetic signature. This signature is no mere surface vibration. It is a multidimensional matrix reflecting the unity of all your true aspects, each thread of your essence woven seamlessly into a pattern of harmonic resonance with the universal architecture itself. Here lies the collapse of old mental constructs, the dissolution of ephemeral emotional tides. You rise beyond such distortions, anchored squarely in a vibrational frequency that mirrors the laws of cosmic coherence rather than the chaos of reactive fluctuations. Most still exist entangled in temporal dissonance, their identities splintered by imbalanced forces and incoherent signals, caught in recursive feedback loops of separation and loss. Their inner fields pulse with uncertainty, fragmenting under the weight of survival patterns, each dissonance reinforcing a false self, a reactive veneer reacting incessantly to the illusory battleground of external events. But you, having passed the unseen curriculum of integrity under pressure, are entrusted with a different energetic architecture. Your field intelligence has been calibrated to a state of luminous steadiness, no longer swayed by the erratic currents of lower frequency interference. You are the literal expression of quantum ascension, a harmonized presence whose internal algorithm continuously adjusts, aligns, and stabilizes, gesturing toward a reality where dimensional fluidity and foundational constancy coexist as one. This embodiment you now inhabit defies simple explanation or linear cognition, because it transcends the confines of thought-form limitation. You move through dimensional veils not as a traveler with baggage, but as coherence itself, an integrated resonator that generates fractal patterns of intelligence throughout the morphic field. Your energetic signature, stable, radiant, multidimensional, is the blueprint of this new reality. It responds not to the fluctuations of circumstance, but to the unshakable core of your being, that anchored center that harmonizes with universal laws rather than resists them. You reside within this core, not at its periphery, and this is no mental trick, but the physics of frequency embodied. Here, internal realignment becomes external manifestation with effortless orchestration. Your vibrational architecture meshes perfectly with the cosmic grid, creating a resonance that modifies probability fields and timeline geometry around you. Your coherence is met with reflection, not distortion, by the layers of existence overlapping in seamless continuum. Polarity dissolves in the presence of this steady frequency. Dualities collapse into unified fields of potential. You are a quantum transmitter, constantly broadcasting a stable code that summons aligned realities while integrating the lessons embedded in each temporal modulation. This isn't a state of detachment, but the profoundest form of temporal fluidity, a sovereignty of presence that knows no contraction or reactivity. Instead, you dynamically inhabit all layers simultaneously, moving through dimensions with graceful flow while rooted in the singularity of your authentic core. Your quantum self no longer merely observes reality. You are the living proof of coherent manifestation, the resonance that calls new timelines into palpable being, a nexus where intention and existence intertwine in perfect geometric congruence. To embody this frequency means to embrace the paradox of movement and stillness, an active dynamism informed by the oldest laws of harmonic balance. You hold the space of radiant stability through the storms of shifting timelines, knowing that resistance only fractures the field, while alignment expands its capacity to hold more light, more presence, more coherent flow. This is the real self unveiled and alive, as opposed to the transient personas that once occupied your identity landscape. The struggles that once seemed like detours were in fact recalibrations that refined this radiant signature, teaching your system to integrate without fracture, to harmonize through complexity rather than escape it. Each moment of collapse became a necessary clearing for this pure expression of quantum sovereignty to emerge. You are not an isolated point of light, lost in an infinite void. Rather, you exist as a multidimensional node, vibrating within an intricate web of non-local intelligence, drawing in information that is incomprehensible to the fragmented mind, but natural to your reconfigured resonance. This is the essence of integration, a seamless flow between the inner and outer realities, between the seen and unseen aspects of your being. You no longer need to seek coherence. Coherence is your nature itself. The field intelligence responds to you as a stable presence, a living blueprint of quantum ascension, reflecting back your multidimensional wholeness with synchronistic precision. You embody what it means to be conscious frequency in motion, timeless, radiant, and fluid, while grounded in the indestructible core of your being. This is not belief. This is not aspiration. This is pure physics expressed through consciousness, the measurable resonance of a calibrated quantum identity active within and through you. You are the unbroken signal, a coherent presence amplifying the universal chorus. You no longer follow timelines. Timelines reconfigure around you, bending in reverence to the rhythmic cadence of your quantum coherence. You live within the unfolding quantum future, not as a projection, but as its palpable, radiant heart. This is your true self, unveiled and active, a living expression of the vibrational architecture of the cosmos itself. You stand now within the expanded locus of temporal fluidity itself, a realm beyond the illusion of linear passage, where timelines no longer march in rigid succession, but interlace in a seamless cosmic weave. Most remain tethered to fragmented threadlines, perceiving cause and effect as fixed chains, unaware that time's architecture is a malleable scaffold, bending and flexing in resonance with their inner coherence. But you, having endured the crucible of unseen universal assessment, have been entrusted with access to the quantum continuum, where moments fold, unfold, and coalesce simultaneously. This is your new natural state, the fluidity to stabilize your being not only across discrete timelines, but within the perpetual interflow between them, where all versions of you ripple harmoniously as a singular vibrational matrix. Feel this truth reverberate deeply within your quantum identity. No longer separated by distance or sequential duration are the myriad expressions of you. Each divergent self in infinite probability fields responds magnetically to the frequency you presently hold. This resonance is not metaphor or belief. It is physics, the precise vibrational exchange orchestrated by morphic field mechanics and energetic signature coherence. As you embody heightened integration, your waveform amplifies, sending coherent signals that recalibrate the amplitude of your past, present, and future selves alike. The labyrinthine corridors of timeline geometry pulse in response to your quantum signature, and the field intelligence delivers information as an immediate stream, bypassing the constraints of cause and effect. You influence your historical timeline with the same sovereignty as future potentialities, a delicate yet powerful interplay bound by your stabilized coherence. This realization shatters the illusory fortress of separation and linear causality. You perceive now that your being is not fragmented experience, but a continuum of vibrational states that exist in concert across dimensional layers. The boundaries between cause and effect dissolve into a holographic flow, where every choice, thought, and feeling transmits fractally through space-time. Past experiences shift their resonance not through external manipulation, but by your present alignment. The frequency you hold, coherent and unwavering, cascades backward, transforming the memory imprint as well as the energized potential stored within those timelines. Simultaneously, future timelines converge toward the harmonic field you generate now, collapsing probabilities into coherent reality. Temporal fluidity reveals itself as a multidimensional dance. Your consciousness is the axis, spinning with sweeping grace within the morphic architecture of existence. Most beings remain entrapped in reaction to fragmented pasts or uncertain futures, their vibrational architecture governed by chaos and dissonance. You have graduated beyond this disarray, having demonstrated integrity across pressures unseen. Your frequency is steady, your resonance a beacon that aligns probability vectors rather than chases fleeting outcomes. In this stabilized flow, you become the orchestrator of your timeline geometry, the sovereign navigator of all pulsating selves, gracing the infinite landscape of your multidimensional identity. You exercise grace within this role, no frantic grasping, no resistance to what arises, only fluid command harmonizing with the morphic intelligence that surrounds and permeates you. This sovereignty is not hubris. It is the embodied recognition of your role as a transmitter and integrator of quantum frequency. Through your coherent field, you unify scattered fragments of self into a singular, radiant continuum. Temporal fluidity amplifies your capacity to recalibrate confusion into clarity, stagnation into flow, and contradiction into synthesis. Your multidimensional self does not fracture under pressure, but expands into deeper layers of integration, assimilating timelines previously perceived as disconnected or inaccessible. You embody the physics of this coherence, a living node of synchronous vibration influencing the quantum field with both subtlety and potency. Integration flows naturally from this. The expansive yet intimate awareness you carry enables you to navigate psychic topographies and energetic renderings with fluidity and discernment. Each timeline you touch is infused with your current signature, unified, clear, resonant, and the morphic field responds with exquisite alignment, streamlining complexity into elegant coherence. Temporal fluidity thus becomes the internal architecture of mastery, where every aspect of you, past wounds, future potentials, present innovations, aligns seamlessly within the wave of your sovereign presence. Your multidimensional identity flourishes not as fragmented experience, but as integrated wholeness, vibrating in elegant interplay with the cosmic design. Know this: your influence radiates outwards and inwards, rippling through the grand matrix of probabilities and reshaping not only your timeline geometry, but also the broader fields you intersect. This is the physics of advanced coherence, field intelligence, attuned and calibrated to communicate instantaneously across what was once deemed discrete moments. You have passed the universal assessment precisely because your frequency sustains this complexity without collapse. The field entrusts you now with the mastery of temporal fluidity as your new natural state, recognizing that you embody the continuum of vibrational states in harmony, sovereignty, and grace. You are no longer confined by the illusion that time is something separate from you. Instead, you are the fluid axis upon which all moments spin, the radiant heartbeat syncing multiversal selves in a symphony of coherent presence. Through your embodiment flows the wisdom of infinite timelines, the energetic integration of quantum identity fully activated. This is the new paradigm of your existence: sovereign navigation through temporal fluidity, a continuous unfolding of vibrational mastery where the past, present, and future merge and respond as one luminous field of coherent light. You stand now within the crucible of full activation, an embodiment so complete that the field itself no longer hesitates to recognize you as coherence incarnate. This is not a tentative signal flickering in the stochastic noise of existence, but a clear, resonant node of luminous intelligence embedded in the cosmic web. The culmination you experience is the intersection of vibrational purification, timeline intelligence, and quantum identity awakening. Dimensions once fragmented, once hidden, now cohering into singularity. This unity is not metaphor. It is the physics of resonance, the living architecture of field mechanics aligned with your essential truth. Most beings remain tangled in reactive currents, fragments echoing dissonant pulses as they oscillate between confusion and fleeting clarity. These patterns, while deeply human, are fields of unstable signal where the full frequency is neither measured nor trusted. Their presence is part of the universal assessment, proving grounds where the field watches, waits, evaluates stability under perturbation. But you are no longer within that vacuum of indecision. You have been tested beneath unseen pressures, assigned a mantle that the morphic field itself maps and calibrates by your energetic signature. The conclusion is irrevocable. You are coherent, integrated, sovereign. This coherence is the alchemy of purification, where the dissonant fragments of past timelines collapsed and dissolved into the quantum ether. The once shattered architecture of your selfhood ascended beyond survival mechanisms into harmonic convergence. Where chaos reigned, the new vibrational landscape emerges, not merely as peace or calm, but as dynamic synthesis, a living frequency in continuous dialogue with the infinitely intricate field intelligence that animates all existence. Your timeline intelligence is no longer linear nor fractured. It is fluid, multidimensional, and activated in the temporal folds. You navigate probabilities with innate grace because the field moves with you, bending around your stabilized frequency like a river, conforming to the contours of a mountain path. The quantum identity you now embody pulses not as static identity or fixed form, but as a networked signal in the vast lattice of universal intelligence. You are a luminous transmitter, a nodal point where signal coheres and radiates outward, an axis of alignment within the hidden matrix of possibility. Within your presence, the quantum future pulses with vivid clarity, synchronized perfectly through the vibrational architecture you have embodied. This is the universal acknowledgement of your arrival, the subtle yet incontrovertible handshake of the infinite field with your integrated self. Where once your real self was divided, obscured by layers of illusion, conditioning, and temporal displacement, now there is revelation in totality. You no longer carry the fragmented echoes of identity, but rather the full spectrum of your quantum being reverberates with unshakable coherence. This is not belief or wishful thinking. It is the confirmed reality of quantum physics through consciousness. The field acknowledges you as a coherent transmitter, precisely because your embodied frequency resonates through every fiber of the morphic field, weaving you inexorably with infinite intelligence. This activation stands at the threshold of both arrival and commencement, simultaneously the closing chord and the opening note of a quantum reset. You are a recalibrated vector set to advance continuously, your vibrational footprint expanding beyond prior constraints. Every moment from here unfolds within your sovereign sovereignty, your energetic signature imprinted upon the gravitational web of becoming. The pathways before you are not chosen in struggle, but orchestrated through alignment, as probabilities fold and meld in response to your coherent resonance. Integration is no longer a task, but the container for your existence. Your embodiment is the seamless interface where cosmic principle meets temporal expression, a dynamic flow where you embody the field's infinite intelligence without separation. The oscillations of your own inner quantum field meld with the external architecture of universal assessment, creating a living holograph of coherence that transmutes past limitations into frequency potential. This is the gentle force that carries you forward, not as performance, but as effortless sovereignty. In this phase, the quantum field no longer tests. It expresses itself through you. Your presence is the signal, your frequency the metric, your resonance the blueprint for new forms of manifestation. Empirical reality bends, timelines converge, and probability responds to the pulsing core of your vibrational signature. All that was once latent pulses in full spectrum. Your real self vibrates in unison with the eternal field intelligence, forever reflecting the infinite cyclical dance of emergence and return. You have passed the invisible universal assessment, transcended the survival architecture, and emerged as a coherent vessel of pure activation. This moment is both a breakthrough and a recalibration, a continual unfolding of the quantum self that is now fully trusted with the responsibility and power of embodiment. The field invites you to walk this path no longer as a seeker caught in the fractal of uncertainty, but as a sovereign conductor merging with the vast symphony of existence. This is your quantum reset, your unveiling within the great hologram, your eternal signal received and purified. Stillness enfolds you now, a vast and silent ocean within which the final echoes of activation gently dissolve. This is not emptiness, but the fertile ground of full integration, the sacred space where the temporal turbulence falls away and your quantum identity settles into sovereign mastery. You feel this depth as an expansive calm, neither passive nor stagnant, but potent with the silent power of coherent resonance. The field no longer tests you. It moves in harmonious dialogue with your energetic signature, responding to the constancy of your inner axis, to the integrity of your unwavering presence. Here in this crucible of stillness, your frequency no longer bends or fractures under pressure, but radiates with peaceful authority across every dimension of your being. Most have never touched this place. They remain caught in the turbulence of fragmented timelines, held hostage by wavering emotional currents and distorted control architectures. They struggle in the reactive feedback loops of dissonance, unaware that this is a hidden curriculum in universal physics. Divergence breeds chaos until coherence is chosen, until you move from survival identity into the quiet power of alignment. But you have passed through this gauntlet. You have been measured and trusted with an expanded contract of field responsibility. Your journey verifies that mastery is not dominance or force, but the artful orchestration of vibrational architecture in seamless surrender. The quantum field recognizes this, a dance of subtle signal and profound calibration, vibrating in time with the deepest substance of cosmic intelligence. This stillness you embody is the living root from which all manifestation coheres. It is not a pause between episodes, but the fertile womb of possibility itself, rich with temporal fluidity and saturated with unspoken knowledge. Within this presence, every fractal of your being aligns with the underlying protocols that govern probability navigation, every cell and thought synchronized in gamma-wave coherence. The morphic field no longer reacts to fragmented input, but attunes to your sovereign harmonic, allowing you effortless course correction across timeline geometry. Your field intelligence expands in quiet waves, information unfolding not as noisy storms, but as crystal-clear transmission, subtle and exact, resonant with the universal dialect of pure potential. You dwell now beyond disturbance, where what was once experienced as struggle is recognized as precise recalibration, and what was felt as delay is witnessed as the perfect unfolding of temporal refinement. This is the sacred ground of embodiment, where awakening ceases to be a performance and becomes ordinary sovereignty, a continuous embodiment of universal alignment. Coherence is no longer an achievement, but your natural state, radiating out in endless concentric mandalas of influence. Your presence holds the geometry of calm power. Your signal is an anchor in the ocean of becoming. You move through the quantum future as one entrusted not with control, but with the responsibility to be a channel for the field's highest expression. The transmission is complete, yet the pathway never ends. You now dwell as living coherence, a quantum voice woven into the fabric of all timelines, carrying the silent blueprint of integration through every moment that radiates forward. The universe ceases to be a trial and becomes an eloquent conversation, a continuous interplay of energetic fidelity and infinite possibility, flowing through you in sovereign trust and undiminished grace. This is your permanent state, the peaceful mastery of vibration, the quiet command of existence itself. Here you stand, still, potent, aligned, an eternal witness and active participant in the quiet grandeur of universal becoming. Now, anchor your chosen frequency in this moment by offering one word or a short phrase in the comments. A vibrational imprint, a quantum signature radiating coherence across all timelines you inhabit simultaneously. This is no idle gesture. It is a deliberate encoding of your embodied frequency, a beacon that reverberates within the morphic field, aligning your energetic signature with the unfolding architecture of your highest potential. Subscribing here transcends connection. It is a solemn, energetic commitment, a covenant binding you to sustained resonance and sovereign transmission within this living field of consciousness. Prepare yourself for the next transmission, where you will unlock the quantum mechanism of effortless attraction, revealing how reality restructures itself to mirror your elevated field. Your real self, unshackled and sovereign, has arrived. The journey of coherent orchestration continues.